What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my picks for MLB
Sunday, September 13th.
These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's MLB slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made.
Okay guys, let's take a look at this 11-game main slate. At the pitcher position, I'm going to save some salary here. I'm going to take a risk on this guy. I like Brad Keller pitching against a low salary batting team, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Brad Keller is only giving up a .573 OPS versus righties, and he's facing 4 righties here tonight. Now, the Pirates have hit 7 of his last 12 pitches, but that's a small sample size, so let's throw that out. He's $8,100 FanDuel salary and $1,300 less on DraftKings. Brad Keller has an ERA of 2.60. He's 3-2 on the season, pitching an average of 94 pitches per game, averaging 29 fantasy points per game. So I like Brad Keller here versus the Pittsburgh Pirates. Okay, let's take a look at the first base position. I like Luke Voit with a 20% batting advantage over a low salary pitcher, John Means. Luke Voit, he's batting a .911 OPS versus lefties. And John Means throws his worst ball versus righty batters, 20% worse than his other pitches, giving up a .827 OPS versus righties. Luke Voit is 2 for 5, batting a .500 and a 1.400 OPS versus Means. He's $3,900 FanDuel salary and $1,500 more on DraftKings. He's averaging 13 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 4, 6, and 10 fantasy points in the last 3 games. I think he's got a big game coming up here tonight where he's projected at 11.1 fantasy points. So I like Luke Voit here versus John Means. Okay, who do we have at the second base position? I'm going to give you a value play here. I like Mike Brousseau with a 39% batting advantage over Martin Perez. Mike Brousseau bats 25% better versus lefty pitchers. He's batting a .987 OPS versus lefties. And Martin Perez throws his worst ball versus righty batters, 14% worse than his other pitches, giving up a .800 OPS versus righties. Mike Brousseau is 3 for 7, batting a .429 and a 1.572 OPS versus Perez. He's only $2,600 FanDuel salary, and he's $2,200 more on DraftKings. So I love that FanDuel price. So I like Mike Brousseau here versus Martin Perez. Okay, let's take a look at the third base position. Now, we've been saving some salary at our pitcher and at second base, so it's opened up our salary here. I know I gave you this play yesterday, and he didn't really work out that well. Only scored 6 fantasy points yesterday. He was in a smash spot, so I'm going with him again today. It's Anthony Rendon with an 11% batting advantage over a low salary pitcher, Ryan Castellani. Anthony Rendon is batting a .967 OPS versus righties. And Ryan Castellani doesn't throw that well versus righty batters. He pitches his worst ball to righty batters, 13% worse than his other pitches, giving up a .986 OPS versus righties. There's no at-bats versus Castellani yet, and Anthony Rendon is $4,500 FanDuel salary and $600 more on DraftKings. He's averaging 12 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 6, 3, and 18 fantasy points in the last 3 games. So I like Anthony Rendon here versus Ryan Castellani.
Real quick guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. The tools are all about saving research time. You can see the last 3 games, the fantasy points per game, the targets they got per game so you can see how involved they are in the offense, the rushes they got per game. Seeing all this stuff on one screen helps you save time and make better picks. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
And I just noticed this play right here. I like Rafael Devers. He's batting against Charlie Morton, but the splits are good here. Rafael Devers bats 25% better versus righty pitchers. He's batting a .968 OPS versus righties. And Charlie Morton throws his worst ball versus lefties. Actually, it's not his worst ball is to switch hitters, but it's 18% worse than his pitch to righties, giving up a .759 OPS versus lefties. Devers is 7 for 24, so a .292 batting average. It's only got a .695 OPS versus Morton, but Rafael Devers is 3,800 FanDuel salary and 1,500 more on DraftKings. Averaging 12 fantasy points per game on the season, he scored 3, 6, and 32 fantasy points in the last 3 games. So if you want to save a little bit of salary here and come down off of Anthony Rendon, I like Rafael Devers here versus Charlie Morton. Okay, let's take a look at the shortstop position. I like Gleyber Torres with a 21% batting advantage over that low salary pitcher, John Means. Gleyber Torres is batting a .813 OPS versus lefty pitchers, and we know John Means throws his worst ball versus righty batters, 20% worse than his other pitches, giving up a .827 OPS versus righties. Now this is a small sample size, but Gleyber Torres is 1 for 3, batting a .333 batting average and a .933 OPS versus Means. He's 2,900 FanDuel salary and 2,000 more on DraftKings. He's averaging 8 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 6, 12, and 35 fantasy points in the last 3 games. So I like Gleyber Torres here versus John Means. Okay, moving on to the outfield position. I don't usually give these super stud picks. This is an obvious play here, but I just want to call him out here. I like Mike Trout with a 40% batting advantage over a low salary pitcher, Ryan Castellani. Mike Trout bats 27% better versus righty pitchers. He's batting a 1.158 OPS versus righties. And Ryan Castellani, he throws his worst ball to righty batters, 13% worse than his other pitches, giving up a .986 OPS versus righties. There's no at-bats versus Castellani yet, but Mike Trout is in a smash spot here, and I swear every time I say a player is in a smash spot, they either strike out or get almost no fantasy points, so it's like the curse that I give on these players. But he is. He's in a smash spot here. He's 5,000 FanDuel salary and 700 more on DraftKings. Averaging 16 fantasy points per game on the season, he scored 15, 12, and 25 fantasy points in the last 3 games. Projected at 13 fantasy points here tonight. So I like Mike Trout here versus Ryan Castellani.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smiggity smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this MLB slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again and good luck.